I stand in the parking lot of Henderson and Associates law firm, wearing my only clean shirt, watching through the window as my daughter-in-law, Jessica, arrives in my late wife's Mercedes. It has been 3 months since Margaret died, 2 months since Jessica and my son Derek threw me out, and 1 month since I have been sleeping in my old pickup truck behind the public library. Today is the reading of Margaret's will. Jessica does not know what is coming. Neither does Derek. I take a deep breath and walk inside. The receptionist greets me with a polite smile that falters slightly when she takes in my appearance. I know what she sees. A man who has aged a decade in 3 months. My clothes are clean but worn, pressed as best I could manage at the laundromat. I have lost weight. My face carries the lines of sleepless nights, and the kind of grief that settles into your bones and never quite leaves. Jessica and Derek are already in the waiting room. Jessica sees me first. Her lip curls in unmistakable disgust. She does not bother to hide it. Derek looks away, shame coloring his features, but he says nothing. He never does. "Is that smell coming from you?" Jessica announces loudly enough for everyone in the office to hear. "When was the last time you showered, Sebastian?" I do not answer. What would be the point? The truth is, I showered this morning at the community center, but Jessica has never been interested in truth. 3 months ago, my world ended in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and dying flowers. Margaret's hand went cold in mine at 3:47 in the afternoon. The doctors said it was a massive heart attack. She was 62 years old. We had been married for 38 years, and I was not ready to say goodbye. Nobody ever is. Her last words, "Stay with me. Trust the plan, Sebastian. Trust the plan." I held her hand tighter, confused, wanting to ask what she meant, but she was already gone. The steady beep of the heart monitor became one long, endless tone, and nurses rushed in, and I was ushered out into a hallway where I collapsed against a wall and wept. The funeral was 2 days later. Derek stood distant, his face unreadable. Jessica watched everything with calculating eyes, already doing mathematics I could not see. Neighbors and friends offered condolences. I moved through it all in a fog. My body present but my soul somewhere else entirely, still in that hospital room, still holding Margaret's hand. The day after we buried my wife, I sat in our living room, surrounded by 38 years of memories, photographs on every wall. Margaret's favorite chair by the window where she read every morning. The Afghan her mother had crocheted, draped over the sofa. Our home, the place we had built together, room by room, year by year, with love and laughter, and the occasional argument about paint colors. Jessica walked in like she owned the place. Derek followed, his hands shoved deep in his pockets, his eyes on the floor. "Sebastian, we need to talk," Jessica announced. No greeting, no acknowledgement of my grief. "Derek and I are taking over the house." I stared at her, not comprehending. "Taking over? The house is in both your names," Derek said quietly, still not meeting my eyes. "But we need to discuss arrangements." "Your name might be on the deed," Jessica interrupted, "but Derek is your only child. This house should go to us. You are too old to maintain such a large property anyway." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "This is my home. Margaret and I built this together." "Margaret is dead," Jessica said flatly. "And you are not getting any younger. What do you need 4 bedrooms for? We have plans. This house is wasted on you." Over the next 2 weeks, Jessica made my life unbearable. She changed locks on rooms, claiming she needed private space. My belongings ended up in boxes in the garage. She served me cold leftovers, while she and Derek ate hot meals at the dining table. Derek was always at work, leaving before dawn, coming home after dark, avoiding conflict the way he had learned to avoid everything uncomfortable in his life. I tried to call my lawyer, but Jessica had disconnected the landline. My cell phone vanished from my nightstand. When I confronted her, she smiled sweetly and suggested I was getting forgetful in my old age. Then came the night everything shattered completely. I was in the garage, sorting through boxes of Margaret's things, crying quietly over a photo album, when Jessica appeared in the doorway. "Derek," she called over her shoulder. "Come here. Now." My son appeared, looking exhausted. "Tell him," Jessica demanded. "Dad," Derek started, then stopped. "Dad, Jessica says you threatened her." "What?" I stood, confused. I have been in the garage all evening. He cornered me in the kitchen, Jessica said, and I heard the tremor in her voice, saw the fear in her eyes that was so perfectly performed. I almost believed it myself. He told me I was ruining his life. He raised his hand to me. That is a lie, I said. Derek, I would never. I am scared, Jessica whispered, moving closer to Derek. I do not feel safe here. Derek looked between us, torn. But I could see the doubt in his eyes. Jessica had been working on him for weeks, planting seeds, watering them with carefully constructed scenes and tearful late-night conversations I was not privy to. Maybe you should stay somewhere else for a few days, Derek said finally, just until things cool down. This is my house, I said, but my voice had lost its strength. Jessica pulled out her phone. I am calling the police. I have a right to feel safe in my own home. Your home? I repeated, but it was too late. The police arrived within 10 minutes. Jessica's cousin worked at the station. I had met him once at a family barbecue, a young officer with ambitious eyes. He took Jessica's statement with sympathetic nods. He took mine with barely concealed skepticism. Mr. Sebastian, he said, it might be best if you left voluntarily. Just for tonight. Let everyone calm down. I have done nothing wrong, I protested. Then you will not mind giving your daughter-in-law some space, he replied. I looked at Derek, waiting for him to stand up for me, to tell the truth, to be the man Margaret and I had raised him to be. But Derek just looked away. I left with a suitcase, my old pickup truck, and my dog Biscuit. That was 6 weeks ago. I have not been back since. The first week, I parked at rest stops along the highway. Public restrooms became my bathroom. Fast food restaurants were where I washed my face and hands. I discovered my savings account had been nearly emptied. $23,000 reduced to $400. Jessica had somehow gained access, claiming joint household expenses on account that had only my name on it. I applied for senior housing. The waiting list was 4 months long. Pride kept me from calling old friends. What would I say? That I had been thrown out by my own son? That I was homeless at 67 years old? I started parking behind the public library at night. A librarian named Patricia noticed but never said anything, never called the police. Once, she left a bag of sandwiches on my windshield with a note. Everybody needs help sometimes. No shame in it. 3 weeks after Jessica kicked me out, a certified letter arrived at the library. Patricia helped me receive it. Henderson and Associates. Margaret's will was being read. The date was set for exactly 3 months after her death. I stared at the letter for a long time, remembering Margaret's last words. Trust the plan. 2 days before today's meeting, I went back to the house. I parked down the street, gathered my courage, and knocked on my own door. Jessica answered. What do you want? She asked coldly. I came for Biscuit. You said you would watch him temporarily. Oh. Jessica's smile was cruel. Biscuit ran away. Dogs do that when they are not properly cared for. Maybe you should not have abandoned him. I saw Biscuit's collar in the trash can by the door. What did you do? I gave him to the pound. He was too much work. She started to close the door. Do not come back here. I drove to the county animal shelter immediately. The woman at the desk checked the records. Yes. A golden retriever named Biscuit had been brought in 2 weeks ago. He had been adopted out yesterday to a family in the next county. I sat in my truck in the shelter parking lot and wept. Biscuit had been Margaret's dog, really, a gift for her 60th birthday. He slept on her side of the bed after she died, whining softly, looking for her. And now he was gone too. Now, standing in the law office, I have nothing left except whatever Margaret planned. The receptionist calls us back. Jessica stands first, smoothing her expensive dress, bought with my stolen money. Derek follows. I bring up the rear, my worn shoes squeaking slightly on the polished floor. The conference room is all dark wood and leather chairs. Mr. Henderson sits at the head of the table, 75 years old with sharp eyes that miss nothing. He was Margaret's attorney for 20 years. He stands when we enter, shakes my hand firmly. Sebastian, I am deeply sorry for your loss. Thank you. I manage. Jessica sits across from me, Derek beside her. She places her designer purse on the table. I recognize it. It was Margaret's. Jessica is even wearing Margaret's wedding ring instead of her own. Henderson opens a leather folder. Shall we begin? Please, Jessica says, leaning forward eagerly. We know Margaret left everything to Derek. He is the only child. Can we just sign the papers and move forward? Henderson looks at her over his reading glasses. Mrs. Price, please allow me to read the will in its entirety. There are legal formalities that must be observed. Jessica sits back with an exaggerated sigh. She catches my eye and smirks. I look away, focusing on the framed diplomas on the wall. Henderson begins with the standard opening clauses. Margaret's full legal name, date of the will, declarations of sound mind and body. Jessica taps her manicured nails on the table. Derek shifts uncomfortably in his seat, his tie too tight, his face pale. First, Henderson reads, Margaret Sebastian leaves $5,000 to the county animal shelter, in memory of all the animals who brought joy to her life. Jessica rolls her eyes. Such a waste. Henderson continues without acknowledging her. $3,000 to the Riverside Public Library, in gratitude for the years of service and comfort it provided to her and her husband. I think of Patricia, of her kindness, and feel warmth, despite everything. Regarding personal items, Henderson says, Margaret's jewelry collection is to be held in trust, with specific pieces designated for future grandchildren. Jessica straightens. I am already wearing some of it. Derek gave it to me. We will address that shortly, Henderson says mildly. He pauses to adjust his glasses, reviewing the next page. Jessica stands abruptly and walks to the small table by the window where coffee has been set out. She pours herself a cup, adding cream and sugar with deliberate slowness. She returns and stands over me. So, Sebastian, she says, her voice dripping with false concern. How is life treating you? Having fun living with the street dogs? She laughs. Derek looks mortified but says nothing. I keep my voice steady. Margaret loved me. Whatever she left, I will respect her wishes. What she left? Jessica's laugh is sharp. Old man, she left everything to us. You are delusional. She raises her coffee cup, then tilts it suddenly. Hot coffee spills directly onto my lap and shirt. I jump up, pain searing through my thighs. The coffee soaks through my pants, burning my skin. Oops, Jessica says. So clumsy of me. Oh wait, you probably cannot afford to clean that, can you? Mrs. Price. Henderson's voice cuts through the room like a blade. Sit down immediately, or I will have you removed from this proceeding. Jessica turns to him, shocked. Excuse me? This is a legal proceeding. Your behavior is being noted for the record. His tone leaves no room for argument. Jessica sits, still smirking. Henderson's assistant, a young woman who had been sitting quietly in the corner, brings towels. I dab at the coffee, my shirt ruined, my skin throbbing. Now, Henderson says, looking directly at Jessica, regarding the primary estate. Jessica leans forward eagerly. Margaret's share of the marital home, which constitutes 50% ownership, is bequeathed to her husband, Sebastian, consolidating full ownership in his name. What? Jessica's voice cracks. Derek starts to speak. But Mom said, Henderson holds up his hand, continuing. Furthermore, regarding the joint savings and checking accounts, those are empty, Jessica interrupts. We already. Mrs. Price. The accounts you accessed contained minimal funds. Margaret maintained separate accounts. I stare at Henderson. I did not know this. Margaret never mentioned separate accounts. Additionally, Henderson continues, pulling out another document, there is the matter of Margaret's investment portfolio. Investment what? Jessica whispers. Margaret's stock holdings, bonds, and real estate investments. Henderson looks at me. Sebastian, your wife wanted you to know she protected you. He reads from the will. The investment portfolio, valued at current market assessment. He pauses. The room is completely silent except for the sound of someone's watch ticking. $1.7 million. The words hang in the air. Jessica's face goes white. Derek's mouth falls open. That is impossible, Derek breathes. I cannot speak, cannot breathe. $1.7 million. Margaret. My Margaret. Furthermore, Henderson says, and I realize he is not finished. Margaret also owned 3 rental properties in downtown Riverside, purchased over the past 15 years. He lists the addresses. I recognize them. Buildings I thought belonged to other people. Buildings where Margaret claimed she volunteered. Combined assessed value, $890,000. All properties are bequeathed to Sebastian. Jessica grabs the edge of the table. I am going to be sick. There is also a letter, Henderson says, pulling out a sealed envelope. From Margaret, to be read aloud. He opens it carefully and begins to read in his measured voice, but the words are Margaret's. I hear her in every sentence. My darling Sebastian, if you are hearing this, I am gone, and I am so sorry. I wanted more years with you, more mornings watching the sunrise, more evenings holding your hand, but I knew our time was limited, and I knew Jessica would show her true nature. Derek makes a small sound of protest, but Henderson continues. I have known for 2 years what Jessica is. I have seen how she looks at our home, our possessions, our life together. I have heard her late-night phone calls. I consulted with Mr. Henderson, and together we made a plan to protect you, my love. Everything I built for us, for you. You are my heart, Sebastian. You always have been. To my daughter-in-law, Jessica, who I know will try to steal from my husband, you get nothing. You have shown who you are. May you learn what it means to lose everything. The letter continues with legal language about trusts and protections, but I barely hear it. Tears stream down my face. Margaret knew. She knew, and she saved me. And finally, Henderson says, looking at me with something like compassion, Sebastian, there is one more account. Margaret had a life insurance policy, $500,000. You are the sole beneficiary. The total rings in my head. Approximately $3 million. $3 million. The house, the investments, the properties, the insurance. Margaret left me everything, and more than I ever knew we had. Jessica collapses into her chair, her face gray. Derek stares at his father with dawning horror at what he has done. Henderson closes the folder. That concludes the reading of the will. Sebastian, my office will handle all the paperwork. You should have full access to the accounts within 48 hours. Jessica suddenly stands. Her shock has transformed into something harder. Well, congratulations, Sebastian. You certainly fooled everyone. Her voice is venomous now. The mask completely dropped. Derek tries to speak. Dad, I did not know. I swear I did not know. Shut up, Jessica snaps at him. Do not grovel to him. She smooths her dress, composing herself with visible effort. We will see how this plays out. She turns and walks out, heels clicking sharply on the floor. Derek follows like a puppy on a leash. After they leave, Henderson looks at me seriously. Sebastian, I must warn you. That woman is dangerous. I know, I say quietly. Margaret came to me 2 years ago. She was worried. Jessica had been pressuring Derek to get power of attorney over both of you. Margaret quietly moved assets, created this ironclad will. She made me promise to protect you. He hands me a business card and a thick folder. Everything you need is here. Contact information, account numbers, legal documentation. The house is yours. The investments are yours. Everything is legal and binding. But Sebastian, be careful. Jessica will not accept this. I leave the office in a daze, clutching the folder. I sit in my truck for a long time, the same truck that has been my home for 2 months. Then I open the folder and find a personal letter from Margaret inside, separate from the will. My hands shake as I unfold it. Her handwriting, her words, Sebastian, my love, I am so sorry you had to go through this pain. I saw what Jessica was before Derek did. I tried to warn him, but love makes us blind, does not it? I've been moving money, making investments, building something that she could never touch. I knew she would kick you out. I knew she would steal what she could, but I protected the rest. I protected us. Live, Sebastian. Live fully. Travel. Eat good food. Adopt a dog. Find joy again. Do not let them win. You are the love of my life, and death does not end that. I will wait for you, but do not hurry. Live first. Love, Margaret. I sit in my truck behind the library where I have been sleeping and weep. They are not tears of grief this time, but something else. Gratitude. Love. Wonder at the gift Margaret gave me, even in death. 2 days pass in a blur. Henderson helps me access the first round of funds. I rent a modest apartment. Nothing fancy, just clean and safe with 1 bedroom. The landlord gives me a strange look when I write a check, probably wondering why someone who can afford first and last month's rent looks like they have been sleeping in their truck. Because I have been. My first real shower in weeks. Hot water, soap, shampoo. I stand under the spray for 20 minutes, watching months of dirt and despair wash down the drain. I buy basic necessities. Sheets, towels, dishes, a coffee maker, groceries, real food, not gas station sandwiches. I visit the county animal shelter, the one Margaret left money to. I am not ready to replace Biscuit, but I walk through anyway. That is when I see him. An older golden retriever in the corner kennel, gray around the muzzle, sad eyes. The volunteer tells me his name is Charlie. His owner died. He has been here for 3 months. Nobody wants an old dog. I say. Charlie comes home with me. He settles into the apartment like he has always lived here, resting his head on my knee while I call Henderson about the next steps. I want to give Derek and Jessica 60 days to move out, I tell him. I want this to be peaceful. Are you sure? Henderson asks. After everything they did? Derek is my son. I have to try. Henderson draws up a formal 60-day notice to vacate. It includes documentation of Jessica's theft from the joint account. The offer is simple. Leave peacefully, and I will not press charges for the stolen $23,000. If they contest, I will prosecute to the fullest extent. I call Derek's cell phone. He answers on the 4th ring. Dad, we need to talk. Can you meet me at Miller's Diner? Just you. There is a long pause. Jessica won't like that. I am not asking Jessica. I am asking my son. Another pause. Okay. Tomorrow, 10 in the morning. The next day, I arrive early. Derek shows up looking terrible. He has lost weight. Dark circles under his eyes. His shirt is wrinkled. He slides into the booth across from me. Dad, I am so sorry. I am so incredibly sorry. I know. Jessica convinced me you were losing your mind. She said we needed to protect the estate, protect you from yourself. She made it sound like we were helping you. His voice breaks. I let you live in your truck. My own father. You did, I say quietly. You let her throw me out of my own home. You watched her steal from me. You said nothing when I had nowhere to go. I hate myself, Derek whispers. I hate what I have become. I study my son. I see genuine remorse. I also see a man who has been manipulated, controlled, hollowed out. You can stay in the house for 60 days, I tell him. Find your own place. This can end peacefully. You are my son. I do not want to lose you completely. Derek's eyes fill with tears. He reaches across the table and grabs my hand. Thank you. Thank you, Dad. I will make this right. I swear I will. We hug in the parking lot. It feels like the first honest moment we have shared in years. What I do not know is that Jessica followed Derek. She sits in her car 3 spaces away, watching through the diner window. She sees the hug. She sees the reconciliation. Her expression turns to stone. That afternoon, I start putting my life back together. I open new bank accounts that Jessica cannot touch. I meet with a financial advisor about the investments. I schedule appointments to view the rental properties. Everything is real. Everything is mine. Margaret protected me in ways I never imagined. 3 days later, Henderson serves the formal 60-day notice. It is delivered by a process server to ensure proper documentation. The offer stands. Leave peacefully, and the theft charges disappear. I come home from meeting with the property manager for the downtown buildings. Charlie greets me at the door, tail wagging. I made it. I survived. Everything is going to be okay. Then I notice the apartment door. It is ajar. Just slightly. I know I locked it. I always lock it. I push it open carefully. The destruction takes my breath away. Everything is destroyed. The couch I bought 3 days ago has been slashed. stuffing pulled out and scattered. The walls are spray-painted with obscenities. "Thief" is written in dripping red paint across the living room wall. My new clothes have been shredded. Charlie's food is dumped everywhere, mixed with the broken dishes. But Charlie is safe. I remember now. He was at the vet for a checkup. Thank God. I call the police. They arrive and take a report. No forced entry. The lock was picked. No witnesses. The building's security cameras show a person in a hoodie, face completely covered, entering and leaving. No identifying features. Any idea who might have done this? The officer asks. My daughter-in-law, I say. Can you prove it? No. Then there is not much we can do. We will file the report. Keep us updated if you get any threats. The next morning, I go outside to drive to the hardware store for new locks. My truck's tires are slashed. All 4 of them. The windows are smashed. When I look under the hood, I see white powder in the gas tank. Sugar. I call a tow truck. Call the police again. Another report filed. Still no proof. Derek calls me, frantic. Dad, I swear this is not me. Jessica has been acting crazy. She barely sleeps, just sits on the couch staring at her phone, muttering to herself. Son, you need to leave her. I am trying. But she says if I leave her, she will destroy me too. She says she has dirt on me, things that could ruin my career. What things? I do not know. She is lying. She has to be lying. But Dad, I am scared. While I am dealing with the vandalism, Jessica is busy with a different kind of destruction. She starts telling neighbors that I abused Margaret. That is why Margaret left everything to me, she claims. Guilt. She posts on neighborhood social media groups, warning about elder fraud. She shares photos she took of me sleeping in my truck, claiming I am running a sympathy scam. Some people who knew Margaret immediately defend me. But others wonder. Doubt spreads like poison. Then Henderson calls. Sebastian, Jessica has hired an attorney. They are contesting the will. On what grounds? Undue influence and diminished capacity. They claim you manipulated Margaret while she was dying, that she was not of sound mind. That is absurd. You have documentation of her competency. I do. But they are also filing a civil suit against you personally. Emotional distress. Defamation. They are asking for $2 million in damages. This is insane. It is frivolous. But it will tie up the estate for months, possibly years. That is the goal, to make you suffer. I hang up feeling defeated. All I wanted was peace. All I wanted was to grieve my wife and rebuild my life. I decide to go to the house, my house, to retrieve the photo albums Margaret kept. Our memories. I have a right to them. Jessica's car is in the driveway. Derek's is not. He must be at work. I hesitate, then decide to go in anyway. It is my property. I unlock the door with my key. Jessica is in the living room, going through boxes. She is searching for something, tossing papers and belongings carelessly. She looks up when I enter. No surprise on her face, just cold calculation. Get out, she says. This is my house now. The law says otherwise. We will see what the law says after my lawyers are done with you. She holds up a document. I cannot see what it is, but she smiles. Margaret was not as smart as you think. What is that? Insurance, she says cryptically. Before I can respond, she runs into the kitchen. I follow, confused. She grabs a knife from the block. For a moment, I think she is going to attack me. Instead, she drags the blade across her own forearm, not deep, but enough to draw blood. Then she starts screaming. Help. Someone help me. I freeze, understanding too late what she is doing. Neighbors hear. They call the police. Within minutes, sirens wail outside. Officers rush in. Jessica is crying, bleeding, pointing at me. He attacked me. He came into the house and attacked me. That is not true, I start to say. But the officer holds up his hand. Sir, I need you to put your hands behind your back. I did not touch her. She did that to herself. But the officer is already reading me my rights. I am handcuffed, led out of my own house while neighbors watch. Jessica stands in the doorway, still crying, cradling her bandaged arm. And I realize this is just the beginning. The county jail smells like disinfectant and despair. They book me on assault charges, fingerprints, mugshot, empty my pockets. Everything goes into a plastic bag. Bail is set at $50,000. Henderson is contacted, but it is late. He cannot arrange bail until morning. I spend the night in a cell with 5 other men. The bunks are thin metal with thinner mattresses. The toilet is in the corner with no privacy. I am 67 years old, and I have never been arrested in my life. An older man on the bunk across from me asks what I am in for. His name is Tommy, maybe 40 years old, but hard living has aged him. I tell him the short version. Man, he says, shaking his head. Women can be ruthless. My ex got me locked up twice with false claims. Both times, charges dropped, but the damage was done. Lost my job, lost my apartment. System does not care if you are innocent. We talk through the night. Tommy gives me advice. Document everything. Get security cameras. Never be alone with her. Protect yourself because nobody else will. Morning comes. Henderson posts bail and picks me up. In his car, he hands me the local newspaper. My stomach drops. The headline reads, Local senior arrested for assault on daughter-in-law. There is a photo of Jessica, with her bandaged arm, looking fragile and afraid. The article describes years of alleged abuse and manipulation. It mentions my inheritance. $3 million. The implication is clear. I am a con artist who manipulated my dying wife. This is character assassination, I say. It is defamation. Henderson agrees. We can sue. But that takes time and money, and Jessica knows it. My phone rings. Derek. Dad, I testified. I told the police you would never hurt anyone. Thank you. But Jessica has people convinced. Her lawyer is vicious. And Dad, she showed me something. Some kind of contract Mom signed. About the house. Jessica says it proves her case. My blood runs cold. What kind of contract? I do not know. She would not let me see the whole thing. But she is confident, really confident. After we hang up, Henderson makes some calls. He hires a private investigator named Frank, a retired police detective with a weathered face and tired eyes. I need to know everything about Jessica Price, Henderson tells him. Frank gets to work. Within 48 hours, he has answers. He meets us at Henderson's office with a thick folder. Jessica Price is not her real name, Frank says. She was born Jennifer Blackwell, changed her name legally 8 years ago. He spreads documents across Henderson's desk. Arrest records, court filings, news articles. Jennifer Blackwell was arrested twice for fraud in her 20s. Charges dropped both times. She worked as a caregiver for elderly people. 3 of her clients died and left her significant money in their wills. All 3 cases were investigated. Nothing was ever proven. I stare at the photos. Young Jessica. Different hair, different style, but the same cold eyes. She has a pattern, Frank continues. She targets vulnerable people, gains their trust, isolates them, then either marries them or becomes indispensable. When they die, she inherits. Are you saying she killed those people? I ask. I am saying 3 healthy elderly people died suddenly while in her care, and she benefited financially each time. That is suspicious. Henderson leans forward. What about Derek? How does he fit? He is her way in, Frank says. She met him 6 years ago. Where? I remember. County General Hospital. Margaret had a minor surgery. Jessica was volunteering. Frank nods grimly. She was not volunteering. She was hunting. She saw your family. Assessed the situation. A successful older couple. 1 son. Assets. She targeted Derek deliberately. The room spins slightly. 6 years. Jessica has been planning this for 6 years. Meanwhile, Jessica files for a restraining order. She claims she fears for her life. Provides the newspaper article as evidence of my violent tendencies. A judge grants a temporary restraining order. I cannot go within 500 feet of my own house. I cannot contact Jessica. Derek is listed as a protected party too, though he never asked for it. I am effectively barred from my own property. I return to my apartment. Charlie is the only thing keeping me sane. I sit on my slashed couch, holding the dog, trying to understand how everything fell apart so completely. Threatening letters arrive. No return address. Untraceable. You will die alone and broke, old man. Margaret is laughing at you from hell. We are watching you. Some of my friends stop calling. Jessica's social media campaign is working. People are not sure what to believe. Maybe I did manipulate Margaret. Maybe I am dangerous. Easier to stay away than get involved. The preliminary hearing for the assault charge happens 2 weeks later. Jessica takes the stand. She is perfect. Tearful but composed. She describes in detail how I supposedly attacked her, how I grabbed the knife, how she fought back, how terrified she was. I only wanted to talk, she says, dabbing her eyes. Sebastian has been so angry since Margaret died. I think he blames Derek and me for her death somehow. It is irrational. But grief does strange things to people. My attorney cross-examines. He is sharp, hired by Henderson. Mrs. Price, you claim Sebastian attacked you with a knife from the kitchen? Yes. Yet there is no DNA evidence. No fingerprints on the knife belonging to Sebastian. He must have wiped it clean. In the seconds before neighbors arrived and you were screaming, he is craftier than he looks. How convenient, my attorney says dryly. When it is my turn to testify, I tell the truth. I never touched her. She cut herself. It was a setup. But the prosecutor paints a different picture. Mr. Sebastian, you stand to gain $3 million from your wife's death. That is quite convenient, is it not? I loved my wife for 40 years. Money means nothing without her. Yet you lived in a truck, gathering sympathy, playing the victim. I lived in my truck because that woman threw me out of my home and stole my savings. The judge listens to both sides. In the end, there is insufficient evidence for trial. The assault charges are dismissed, but the restraining order remains in place pending the civil proceedings. Outside the courthouse, Jessica walks past me. She leans in and whispers, "This is just round one." That night, someone knocks on my apartment door. It is Derek. He looks terrible. Thinner. Dark circles under his eyes, shaking slightly. "Dad, please. Let me in." Against my better judgment, I do. Derek collapses onto my ruined couch. "I need money. Please, Dad. $50,000. For what?" Jessica is bleeding me dry. Legal fees. Her credit cards. Everything. If I do not pay, she will leave me. Maybe you should let her leave. I cannot. Please, Dad. Just 50,000. I will pay you back. I cannot access most of the estate until this is settled. You know that. But you have some. I know you do. I study my son. This broken man who chose his wife over his father. What is this really about? Derek breaks down completely. She says she will ruin me. She will tell my employer I am unstable. She will claim I abused her. She will take everything. I am trapped, Dad. Please help me. No, I say quietly. I will not fund my own destruction. Derek's expression changes. The desperation turns to something harder. He pulls out his phone. I have been recording this conversation. Jessica said you would refuse to help your own son. Now I have proof of how vindictive you are. He stands and walks to the door. Before leaving, he turns back. You are on your own, Dad. The door closes. I sit in the darkness with Charlie, understanding that I have lost my son completely. Jessica has him. She owns him, and she will use him to destroy me. Frank, the private investigator, works fast. 1 week after Derek's betrayal, he calls me to Henderson's office. What he has discovered is worse than I imagined. Jennifer Blackwell, Frank says, spreading more documents on the conference table. That is her birth name. But she has used at least 4 different names over the past 20 years. Jennifer Marston, Jessica Thornton, Jessica Price. He shows me photos from public records. The same woman at different ages, different hair colors, different last names. She has a criminal record under her birth name, 2 arrests for fraud before she was 30. Both times, the charges were dropped because witnesses refused to testify or evidence disappeared. She is smart. Careful. What about the elderly clients? I ask. 3 confirmed deaths, all while Jennifer was their primary caregiver. First was Harold Chen in Iowa, 83 years old, died of a heart attack, left Jennifer $50,000. Second was Walter Kingston in Missouri. 79, died of heart failure. Left her $120,000. Third was Dorothy Palmer in Kansas. 81, stroke. Left her $300,000. Henderson leans forward. Were the deaths investigated? Superficially. All were ruled natural causes. But I pulled the original coroner reports. All 3 victims showed elevated levels of medication in their systems. Nothing conclusive, but suspicious. She poisoned them, I say. I think so. But proving it now, years later, would be nearly impossible. What about Derek? I ask. How did she find him? Frank pulls out another document. 6 years ago, Jennifer worked briefly as a hospital volunteer at County General. That is where she met your family. But here is the interesting part. She stopped volunteering 2 weeks after meeting Derek. She had what she needed. I remember that day. Margaret's gallbladder surgery. A routine procedure. Derek was there, worried, pacing the waiting room. A pretty young volunteer brought him coffee, struck up a conversation. Within 3 months, they were dating. Within a year, married. She hunted my son, I say. Yes. And now she is trying to kill you, just like the others. That night, my phone rings. It is Derek. His voice is panicked. Dad, I need to see you. Now, it is important. Derek, I cannot. Your name is on the restraining order. Forget the order. Meet me at Harbor Park. 30 minutes. Please, Dad. I think I am in danger. I should not go. But he is my son. I grab my jacket and drive to the park. It is dark, nearly empty. Derek's car is already there. He is pacing by the water. What is wrong? I ask. Jessica has been drugging me, he says, words tumbling out. At night. She makes me these drinks, says they help me sleep. But I wake up groggy, missing hours. I found pill bottles hidden in the bathroom. They are not prescribed to either of us. What kind of pills? I do not know. But when I confronted her, she laughed. She said if I leave or tell anyone, she will claim I abused her. She will say I forced her to do everything, that I controlled her. Derek sits on a bench, head in his hands. Dad, how do I get out? This is the moment I have been waiting for. My son finally sees the truth. We document everything, I tell him. Henderson has a plan. You stay with Jessica, but you wear a wire. Record her. Get evidence. She will kill me if she finds out. She will kill you anyway if you stay. Derek, we think she has killed before. Other people. Elderly people she cared for. Derek looks at me, horrified. What? I tell him everything Frank discovered. By the end, Derek is shaking. I married a murderer, he whispers. Over the next 3 days, Derek becomes our inside source. Henderson gets him a tiny camera that clips to his shirt pocket, a recording app on his phone. Derek goes back to the house and acts normal. Jessica suspects nothing at first. She makes Derek his nightly drink. This time he pretends to drink, but spills most of it into a nearby plant when she is not looking. He acts drowsy, goes to bed early. Jessica thinks he is asleep. That is when she makes her calls. Derek's phone, hidden under the bed, records everything. It is going as planned, Jessica says to someone. The old man is nearly broken. The legal fees are destroying him. The restraining order keeps him away from the house. Soon he will just give up. A male voice responds. What about the son? He is weak. Once I get him to sign the property over to me, he is disposable. Like the others? Jessica laughs. It is a sound without warmth. Exactly like the others. They discuss the quitclaim deed in detail. The male voice is Marcus Thompson, a notary who has been helping Jessica forge documents for years. He is her accomplice, her partner in multiple crimes. Derek listens to this recording the next morning. He understands now. Disposable. Like the others. His wife is planning to kill him. He waits until 3 in the morning when Jessica is finally asleep. Then he grabs his laptop, his phone with all the recordings and documents he has been collecting. He leaves the house and drives straight to my apartment. I open the door to find my son shaking, terrified, tears streaming down his face. Dad, she is going to kill me. Just like she planned to kill you. We sit at my small kitchen table and listen to the recordings together. Jessica's voice, cold and calculating. Her accomplice. The plan. Everything. I have been so stupid, Derek weeps. So blind. I let her throw you out. I watched you suffer. I chose her over you. I hold my son while he cries. We will fix this. Together. Derek pulls out more documents. She has a file. On her laptop. Plans for your accident. She was going to stage something. Make it look like you wandered into traffic. Old man. Confused. Grief-stricken. At 4 a.m, we call Henderson. He tells us to bring everything to his office immediately. We drive through empty streets. Derek carries boxes of evidence. Bank statements showing Jessica systematically stealing from both of us. Over $200,000 moved to offshore accounts under different names. Henderson listens to the recordings. His face grows darker with each revelation. This is enough, he says. We go to the police. Now, but as we are preparing to leave, Derek's phone buzzes. A text from Jessica. Where are you? Then another. I know you took the recordings. Then. You just made a big mistake. Derek's hands shake. She knows. 30 minutes later, Jessica is outside my apartment building. She must have tracking software on Derek's phone. She pounds on the building's main door. Derek! Open up! I know you are in there with your father. Security arrives. Jessica is screaming now, hysterical. My husband is being held against his will. That man kidnapped him. Someone call the police. Frank, who has been with us all night, steps outside with his phone recording. Mrs. Price. Nobody is being held against their will. Derek is here voluntarily. Jessica sees the camera. Her expression changes instantly. The hysteria disappears, replaced by cold fury. You have no idea who you are dealing with, she hisses. The police arrive. But this time, Henderson is prepared. He has lawyers present. They have the recordings. Jessica tries to claim Derek was kidnapped, but Derek steps forward. I am here by choice. I have evidence of crimes my wife has committed. I want to file a report. The officers look at each other. They take statements. Listen to portions of the recordings. See the documents about the forged quitclaim deed. Ma'am, we need you to come to the station for questioning, one officer says. Jessica's composure finally cracks. On what charges? Conspiracy to commit fraud, for starters, Frank says. He pulls out his private investigator license. I am former police. I have been investigating you, Jennifer Blackwell. Jessica's face goes white at her real name. We know about Harold Chen, Walter Kingston, Dorothy Palmer. We know what you did. Jessica tries to run. She actually runs, sprinting toward her car, but the officers catch her easily. They handcuff her right there in the parking lot. As they load her into the police car, she screams at Derek. You are dead. You hear me? Dead. At the police station, Jessica is interrogated for 8 hours. At first, she claims everything is a misunderstanding, but the evidence is overwhelming. The recordings, the forged documents, the offshore accounts, the file on her laptop detailing plans for my accident. Finally, around 3 p.m, she cracks. Fine, she says. I forged the quitclaim deed. I moved money. But I was not really going to hurt Sebastian. It was just planning. Fantasy. You contacted Marcus Thompson, a detective says. We have phone records. Mr. Thompson has a criminal record. Assault. Weapons charges. You hired him. Jessica realizes her mistake. I want a lawyer. But it is too late. In trying to minimize one crime, she admitted to others. Marcus Thompson is picked up within hours. In his apartment, police find more evidence. Communications with Jessica. Payments. Plans. Thompson decides to cooperate. He tells the police everything. How Jessica recruited him 5 years ago. How many documents they forged together. How many elderly victims they targeted. And then he says the words that change everything. There were others before the 3 you know about. At least 2 more. Maybe more than that. Jessica kept trophies, photos, documents. She has a storage unit. Police get a warrant. The storage unit contains boxes of documents, photos of elderly people, copies of wills, death certificates, a literal graveyard of victims. Jessica is charged with conspiracy to commit murder regarding me. But the investigation into her past explodes. Exhumation orders are filed for her previous victims. The case becomes national news. And through it all, I sit in Henderson's office with Derek, trying to process that my daughter-in-law is a serial killer. The media frenzy is overwhelming. Black widow caregiver suspected in multiple deaths. The story is everywhere. Cable news, newspapers, online. My face is on television. Derek's face. Jessica's mugshot. Reporters camp outside my apartment. I cannot leave without cameras in my face. Questions shouted. How does it feel to know you almost became another victim? Did you suspect your daughter-in-law was a killer? The public opinion that turned against me now swings back violently. People who believe Jessica's lies now apologize. Former friends call, embarrassed. We should have known better. We should have believed you. But the damage is done. I trust no one now. Except Derek. My son is broken. He moves into a hotel, unable to face the house, unable to face himself. We meet for dinner every few days. He is in intensive therapy, trying to process the trauma and manipulation. Dad, I let her destroy you. I watched you live in your truck. I chose her over you. She was a professional, Derek. She fooled everyone. I should have seen it. I should have protected you and Mom. We cry together. We work on healing. It is slow, painful, but it is happening. Meanwhile, the legal machinery grinds forward. Exhumation orders are granted for Harold Chen, Walter Kingston, and Dorothy Palmer. Their bodies are removed from graves across 3 states. Forensic toxicology takes weeks. Finally, results come back. All 3 bodies show elevated levels of digoxin, a heart medication. None of the 3 had prescriptions for digoxin. None had heart conditions requiring it. The coroner's report is clear. These deaths were not natural. The victims were poisoned with digoxin over a period of weeks, leading to cardiac events that appeared natural at the time. Jessica is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The trial takes 6 months to prepare. Jessica's defense team tries everything: insanity pleas, claims of coercion. They argue the confession was forced, but the evidence is insurmountable. Derek and I move back into the family home together. We sort through Margaret's belongings, crying over photographs, remembering better times. The house feels empty without her. But slowly, we fill it with new memories, healthier ones. The trial begins on a cold Monday in November. The courtroom is packed, media everywhere. Families of Jessica's victims sit in the gallery, finally getting their day. I testify for 2 full days. The prosecutor walks me through everything: meeting Jessica, Margaret's fears, the eviction, living in my truck, finding Biscuit gone, the coffee incident, the staged assault. Mr. Sebastian, the prosecutor asks, what was the lowest moment? I think about it. Sitting in that jail cell, arrested for a crime I did not commit, knowing my son believed her lies instead of me. That was when I understood how completely she had won. The cross-examination tries to paint me as vindictive, as someone who wanted Jessica gone from the beginning and manufactured this entire scenario. Is it not true, Mr. Sebastian, that you never liked Jessica? That is not true. I welcomed her into our family. But you resented her relationship with your son? No. I wanted Derek to be happy. Yet here we are, with you as the primary beneficiary of a multi-million-dollar estate, and your daughter-in-law facing life in prison. Convenient for you. My wife is dead, I say quietly. There is nothing convenient about any of this. Derek's testimony is the most powerful. He takes the stand wearing a suit that hangs loose on his thinner frame. He describes being manipulated, being drugged, being isolated from his father. The recordings are played in court. Jessica's voice fills the room. Cold. Calculating. He is disposable, like the others. The jury is visibly disturbed. Several people in the gallery cry. I see the families of her victims nodding. They understand now. This is who killed their loved ones. The defense tries to claim the recordings are fake, enhanced, taken out of context. But forensic audio analysis proves they are authentic and unaltered. Then come the families of the deceased. One by one, they testify. Harold Chen's daughter, Margaret Chen, describes her father. He was healthy, active, 73 years old, but you would think he was 50. Then Jennifer came into his life as his caregiver. Within 3 months, he was dead. What happened to his estate? The prosecutor asks. Jennifer got $300,000. The will had been changed 2 weeks before he died. My father would never have done that. We tried to contest it, but the lawyers said we had no proof of undue influence. Walter Kingston's son tells a similar story. His father, a widower, hired Jennifer as a companion. She isolated him, convinced him his children only wanted his money. He changed his will. Then he died. Heart attack, they said. He was 79. Jennifer got $500,000. Dorothy Palmer's daughter weeps on the stand. My mother was my best friend. Jennifer convinced her we were trying to put her in a nursing home. It was a lie. We loved my mother. But she believed Jennifer. She changed her will. 2 months later, massive stroke. Dead at 81. Jennifer inherited $700,000 in my mother's house. By the time the prosecution rests, the jury has heard enough. The pattern is unmistakable. The evidence overwhelming. Jessica's defense calls character witnesses who describe her as kind and generous. But under cross-examination, most admit they only knew her superficially. Then Jessica takes the stand. Her lawyer advises against it, but she insists. She is defiant, cold. Those people were lonely, she says. I gave them companionship. If they chose to leave me money, that was their decision. Miss Blackwell, the prosecutor says, using her real name, if they chose to leave you money, why did you poison them with digoxin? I did not poison anyone. The toxicology reports say otherwise. Those reports are wrong. The prosecutor plays the recording. Jessica's own voice. They were old, dying anyway. I just helped them along. That is out of context. Jessica snaps. What is the proper context for helping elderly people along to their deaths? Jessica has no answer. The jury deliberates for 3 days. Derek and I wait in Henderson's office. Frank joins us. Henderson orders food nobody eats. We drink coffee and wait. Finally, word comes. The jury has reached a verdict. The courtroom is silent as the jury foreman stands. On the count of conspiracy to commit murder regarding Sebastian Price, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of murder in the first degree regarding Harold Chen, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of murder in the first degree regarding Walter Kingston, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of murder in the first degree regarding Dorothy Palmer, how do you find? Guilty. The litany continues. Fraud charges, forgery, conspiracy. Every count comes back the same. Guilty. The courtroom erupts. People crying, hugging, years of pain finally acknowledged. Justice finally served. Jessica shows no emotion. She sits stone-faced, staring straight ahead. Sentencing comes 2 weeks later. The judge is a stern woman in her 60s who has heard thousands of cases but seems genuinely disturbed by this one. Miss Blackwell, she says, you systematically targeted, manipulated, and murdered vulnerable people for financial gain. You showed no remorse, no conscience. You are a danger to society and will remain so. She sentences Jessica to life in prison without possibility of parole. 3 consecutive life sentences for the 3 murders. Additional decades for the fraud and conspiracy charges. Jessica is led away in chains. She looks back at Derek once. Her expression is empty, like she is already gone. Outside the courthouse, reporters mob us. I read a brief statement. Henderson prepared. Justice has been served. But it cannot bring back the people Jessica killed. It cannot give me back the months I spent homeless and afraid. It cannot give my son back the years he lost to manipulation. We move forward because we must. But we will never forget. That night, Henderson calls with news that changes everything. Sebastian, there was a timed release from Margaret's safety deposit box. It just arrived at my office. What is it? A letter. And a journal. You need to see this. Derek and I meet Henderson the next morning. He hands us a sealed envelope, addressed in Margaret's handwriting. My hands shake as I open it. My dearest Sebastian, it begins. If you are reading this, I am gone, and I pray my plan worked. I pray you are safe. The letter explains everything. Margaret had been investigating Jessica for over a year before she died. She discovered Jennifer Blackwell's real identity, found newspaper articles about the suspicious deaths, contacted police in 3 states, but they said the cases were closed. Evidence insufficient. I could not prove it in time, Margaret wrote. So I did what I could. I moved our assets. I made my will ironclad. I protected you, my love. I knew Jessica would show her true nature once I was gone. I knew she would try to take everything. I just hope I built enough walls to keep you safe. Forgive me for not telling you. I did not want to worry you. I wanted our last days together to be filled with love, not fear. Protect our son. He is blind to what she is, but he will see eventually. And Sebastian, my darling, live. Do not let her steal your joy. Do not let her win. I will wait for you, but do not hurry. Live first. All my love. Forever, Margaret. The journal is worse. Page after page of Margaret's investigation. Dates, names, connections she made, evidence she compiled. She had been building a case against Jessica for 14 months. The final entry is dated 2 days before Margaret died. I am getting sicker. I think Jessica is poisoning me. I am almost certain. But if I accuse her, she will disappear, and Sebastian will be left unprotected. So I am documenting everything. When I am gone, this journal will be released to the police. They will have what they need. Sebastian will have what he needs. I am not afraid to die. I am only afraid of leaving him alone with her. Please, God, protect my husband. Make my sacrifice count. I cannot breathe. Derek reads over my shoulder and breaks down completely. Mom knew, he sobs. She knew Jessica was killing her, and she let it happen to protect us. Henderson immediately sends the journal to the police. A new investigation opens. Margaret's body is exhumed. It takes 2 weeks for the toxicology results. Digoxin. Just like the others. Margaret was poisoned slowly over the course of several weeks. The heart attack that killed her was not natural. It was induced. New charges are filed. First-degree murder of Margaret Sebastian. The second trial is faster. Jessica's legal team is exhausted. The evidence is conclusive. Margaret's journal. The toxicology. Jessica had opportunity and motive. Another guilty verdict. Another life sentence. This one hurts more than the others, because it is Margaret, my Margaret, murdered in her own home by someone she welcomed into our family. I visit Margaret's grave after the verdict. Derek comes with me. We stand in silence for a long time. She saved us, Dad, Derek finally says. Mom gave her life to save ours. I know. How do we live with that? We live well, I say. We honor her sacrifice by living the way she wanted us to, together, happy, free from fear. We place flowers on her grave. 39 roses, one for each year of our marriage, and one for the year she protected me, even in death. 1 year later, I stand in Margaret's garden on a sunny afternoon in May. The roses she planted years ago are in full bloom, red and pink and white. The air smells sweet. Charlie lies in the shade nearby, gray muzzle resting on his paws, content. Derek and his new wife, Sarah, arrive with my granddaughter. They named her Margaret. Little Margaret is 6 months old, with her grandmother's blue eyes and her grandfather's smile. I hold her carefully, this tiny miracle, and tears stream down my face. She has her grandmother's eyes, I whisper. I know, Derek says, his arm around Sarah. Mom would have loved her. Sarah is everything Jessica was not. Kind. Genuine. A second-grade teacher who loves children and animals, and my son. They met at a grief support group Derek joined after the trials. She lost her father to cancer. They understood each other's pain. The wedding was small and simple, just family and close friends. I walked Derek down the aisle and felt Margaret's presence in every moment. The house is ours again. Derek and Sarah live here with me. We filled the rooms with laughter and noise and life. The pain of what happened will never fully disappear, but we are building new memories on top of the old ones. I could not keep living here surrounded by ghosts, so we renovated. New paint, new furniture, Margaret's garden remains untouched, sacred, but the rest of the house is different now. Better. A place of healing. The Margaret Sebastian Foundation opened 6 months ago. Derek runs it full-time. We help elderly victims of financial abuse, provide legal assistance, emergency housing, support groups. Everything I wish I had when Jessica threw me out. We have helped 43 people so far. Men and women who were targeted by con artists, by greedy family members, by people who saw vulnerability and decided to exploit it. We give them lawyers. We give them hope. We give them a place to stay while they rebuild their lives. The foundation is funded by Margaret's estate. The very money Jessica tried to steal now helps others in similar situations. Margaret would love that. I feel her approval every time we open a new case. I also met someone. Her name is Helen. We crossed paths at a grief support group. A therapist recommended I attend. She lost her husband to cancer 2 years ago. We started as friends. Coffee once a week. Then, twice a week. Then dinner. Now she comes to Sunday dinners at the house, and Charlie loves her, and Derek and Sarah treat her like family. I am not trying to replace Margaret. Nobody could. But Helen understands loss. She understands grief. We heal together. We laugh together. We take it slow. There is no rush. We are both past the age of rushing. You deserve happiness, Derek told me when I nervously mentioned Helen. Mom would want you to be happy. He is right. Margaret's letter said it clearly. Live. Do not let her win. Do not hurry to join me. So I am living. I am 70 years old. I have a granddaughter who will grow up hearing stories about the grandmother she never met. I have a son who learned the hardest possible lessons about manipulation and trust, and the importance of standing up for what is right. I have tomorrow. Jessica is in a maximum security prison 3 hours away. I have never visited. I never will. She is part of my past, a nightmare that is over. The prosecutor said she spends most of her time alone, refused by other inmates who know what she did. That is her justice. Isolation. The very thing she inflicted on her victims. Sometimes people ask if I am bitter. How could I not be? I lost Margaret. I lost my dignity. I lived in my truck. I was arrested. I spent months fighting for my life and my sanity. But bitterness is a poison, and I refused to drink it. Margaret taught me something in death that she had been teaching me throughout our life together. Protect what matters. Love fiercely. Trust carefully. And when evil comes for you, fight back with truth. Jessica took months from me. She took my wife's final year. She took my sense of safety, but she could not take Margaret's love. She could not take my son back. She could not take my future. I think about the Margaret Sebastian Foundation. The people we help. The lives we change. That is Margaret's legacy. That is how we win. Every evening, I visit Margaret's grave. Sometimes Derek and Sarah come with little Margaret. Sometimes Helen walks with me. Sometimes it is just Charlie and me. I bring flowers. I talk to her. I tell her about the foundation, about Derek's happiness, about the granddaughter who bears her name. Thank you, I always say. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for the plan. Thank you for loving me enough to die knowing I would be safe. Rest now, my love. I kept fighting, just like you asked, and I won. We won. Today, the whole family is here. Derek holds little Margaret up to the headstone. This is your grandma, sweetheart. She was brave and smart and loved more than anything in the world. Sarah places fresh flowers. Helen squeezes my hand. Charlie sits at my feet, loyal as always. I place 39 roses carefully against the stone. One for each year we had together. One for the year she saved my life, even after her own had ended. The sun is setting, painting the sky pink and gold. Birds sing in the trees Margaret loved. The air is warm. For the first time in 2 years, I feel something close to peace. We are okay, I tell Margaret's grave. All of us. We are going to be okay. And for the first time, I truly believe it. Now, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to rebuild your life after someone tried to destroy it? Have you ever discovered that someone you trusted was not who they seemed? How did you find the strength to keep going? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else who is struggling right now. If this story touched you, please give it a like. Subscribe to hear more stories about resilience, survival, and the power of never giving up. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it is never too late to fight back, to rebuild, to find happiness again. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. Remember, no matter how dark things seem, no matter how completely someone has tried to break you, there is always a path forward. Always hope. Always tomorrow. May you find your own strength when you need it most. May you protect what matters, and may you never stop fighting for the life you deserve.